banned. Not fined, not suspended, banned for life. That's how the story broke. One sentence from Adam Silver, and boom, one of the most recognizable faces in women's basketball was erased overnight. No press buildup, no leaks, just an emergency press conference, a stunned audience, and a bombshell that shook the entire WNBA to its core. Brittney Griner is gone. But this wasn't just a slap on the wrist or a scandal they could bury. This was a total wipeout, a blacklisting, a message sent loud and clear. And fans are asking the question everyone's too afraid to answer. What the hell really happened? Was she fixing games? Whispering in referees' ears? Or was this about something even deeper? Something the league's been hiding for years? Because the deeper you dig, the uglier it gets. Scandals, secret testimonies, audio leaks, even whispers about her identity. And now, the entire league's reputation is hanging by a thread. So buckle up, because what started as a simple ban might just be the biggest basketball cover-up of the decade. It all started with a room full of reporters and a commissioner who didn't blink. No warm-up, no small talk, just a sentence that hit like a thunderclap. Effective immediately, Brittney Griner is banned from the WNBA for life. The reaction? Shock, confusion, disbelief. You could hear the gasps echo across the room. Griner wasn't just any player, she was the player, a household name, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, the face of the league for nearly a decade. You saw her in Nike commercials, charity events, all-star games, even global campaigns repping Team USA. And now, gone. No warning, no final game, no farewell, just erased. But this wasn't a move made lightly. Adam Silver didn't mince words. The league had reportedly conducted a deep internal investigation, and what they found, in his words, was too big to ignore. Multiple rule violations, off-court drama, and something far darker, alleged corruption that could shake the foundation of the entire sport. Silver stood firm. There is no place in basketball for actions that compromise the integrity of the game, he said. And just like that, the WNBA had lost its brightest star. Not to retirement, not to injury, but to scandal. But what exactly did she do? Why did the punishment have to be so extreme? And why now, after all these years at the top? You're gonna want to stay with this, because as wild as this press conference was, it's just the tip of the iceberg. For years, Brittney Griner wasn't just in the WNBA, she was the WNBA. She was the highlight reel, the sellout crowd, the reason fans tuned in. A dunking phenom in a league that rarely saw that kind of flair. A two-time Olympic champion, the first name on every promo flyer. She dominated the court and owned the spotlight. From hosting youth camps to locking in million-dollar endorsements, she wasn't just a player, she was a brand. So how do you go from poster child to persona non grata in a single press conference? Turns out, this didn't come out of nowhere. There were signs. Quiet ones. Whispers in locker rooms. Rumors of tension with teammates. Clashes with referees that went beyond simple texts and ejections. Stories of skipped team protocols, strange behavior off the court, and sudden bursts of drama no one wanted to talk about. At least not on the record. But here's the thing. The league let it slide. Why? Because she sold tickets. She brought views. She was good for business. Until she wasn't. As the red flags piled up and the headlines grew louder, a WNBA's patience snapped. Adam Silver pulled the plug, and just like that, the league moved on, wiping its hands clean of the very player who once put it on the map. Sounds cold? That's because it was. But if you think that's ruthless, wait until you hear what came next. At first, it just sounded like gossip. A few frustrated coaches, some offhand comments from players. Nothing solid, just vibes. But then came the patterns. Games that felt off. Momentum swinging at strange moments. Referees making bizarre calls that always seemed to benefit one team, Griner's team. Still, no one dared to say it out loud. Because accusing the league's biggest star of cheating? That was career suicide. But the whispers got louder. Insiders started connecting dots. Sudden changes in lineups, strange energy in the locker room, referees avoiding eye contact, and then audio leaks, text messages, emails. That's when Silver stepped in. He launched a full-scale investigation. Quiet at first, but what they uncovered was anything but quiet. According to reports, Griner wasn't just a player. She was allegedly manipulating games from the shadows. She had access, she had relationships, and allegedly, she used both. League insiders claim she communicated directly with officials, sometimes before the games. She allegedly influenced matchups, pressured refs, even shifted the vibe of games at critical playoff moments. And suddenly, this wasn't about locker room drama anymore. It was about the integrity of the entire league. The deeper investigations dug, the messier it got. Suspensions, firings, cover-ups. And in the middle of it all, Brittney Griner's name kept coming up. Not just once, over and over and over again. But here's the kicker. If she really had that much control, who else knew? And why did they let it go on this long? Let's talk about the one person who was supposed to stop this before it ever started. You don't just rig a league overnight. You need timing, you need silence, and you need people in power to look the other way. That's exactly what made this scandal so explosive. According to league insiders, Griner wasn't just pulling strings. She was building a quiet empire of influence. The manipulation didn't look obvious. No blatant bribes, no caught-on-camera moments. It looked more like momentum. A critical foul not called, a game-winning three waved off, a playoff seed suddenly flipped by a questionable whistle. And guess who benefited again and again? Griner's squad. But here's where it gets really wild. Multiple sources claim she was communicating with referees behind closed doors. Texts, DMs, even alleged audio recordings of her discussing pressure points in matchups. Think about that. A player talking strategy with refs before games that had playoff implications? At first, the league dismissed it. Too risky to admit, too big to believe. But then came the footage, the emails. And those off nights from refs started looking a lot less random. When playoff races tightened and teams missed critical chances, the pressure boiled over. Fans noticed, coaches whispered, and Silver, he had no choice. He brought in independent investigators. What they found? A pattern, a system, a scandal. Officials were suspended, league executives were quietly let go. And at the center of this web, Griner's name showed up again and again. She wasn't just showing up in box scores. She was allegedly pulling levers off the court that no player should ever touch. And that raises the question, how long had this been going on, and why did no one stop it? The answer might lie with someone who should have sounded the alarm a long time ago. When a league is in chaos, you look to the top. The commissioner, the person paid to protect the game, uphold fairness, and step in before things fall apart. But in this case, she didn't say a word. Cathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, was supposed to be the watchdog, the gatekeeper, the one person with the power to shut all of this down before it exploded. Instead, she watched it burn. Insiders claim Engelbert knew about the drama long before Adam Silver ever stepped in. We're talking emails, warnings, player complaints, all of it ignored. Some say she didn't want to go head-to-head with Griner. Others believe she was trying to protect the league's image, fearing that exposing the truth would destroy years of progress. But silence is a choice. And in this case, that silence made everything worse. While Griner allegedly manipulated games and bent relationships to her will, the one person who could have pulled the brakes stayed quiet. And now, that decision is coming back to haunt her. Engelbert is under internal review. Fans are calling for her resignation. Sponsors are demanding accountability. And worst of all, the league's credibility is circling the drain. Because this isn't just about one star player going rogue. It's about a system that let it happen. When PR takes priority over accountability, this is what you get. A scandal that spirals into something bigger than any one person. But here's the twist. This whole thing might have stayed hidden if a few brave players hadn't finally said enough is enough. Scandals like this don't unravel on their own. Someone has to speak. And in this case, it wasn't just anyone. It was the future of the league. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, not benchwarmers, not fringe voices. These are rising stars, faces of the next generation. And when they spoke up, the league had no choice but to listen. Behind closed doors, both players reportedly gave detailed testimonies to investigators. They didn't hold back. They talked about games where everything felt rigged, where calls made no sense, where Griner's team got sudden advantages at just the right moments. But this wasn't just about vibes. They came with receipts. League officials allegedly played audio clips during those sessions, clips where Griner could be heard talking to referees about pressure points, key matchups, and how to influence momentum. That wasn't trash talk. That was strategy, but the kind that doesn't belong off the court. When Clark and Cunningham put their names behind these claims, it forced Silver's hand. He couldn't ignore it. Not anymore. Because now, this wasn't just about Griner's behavior. It was about a conspiracy unfolding in plain sight, validated by the league's most promising players. So here's the question that haunts everything. If Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham had stayed silent, would any of this have come out? Would Griner still be playing? Would the league still be pretending everything was fine? That's the terrifying part. It took two players risking their reputations to shake the system. And as soon as they did, everything started to fall apart. But the Griner camp? They weren't going down without a fight. You really thought she'd go quietly? Not a chance. The second that ban hit the headlines, Brittney Griner's camp went into overdrive. Lawyers, PR reps, media consultants. It wasn't just damage control, it was a counterattack. Behind the scenes, her team began prepping an appeal, and according to insiders, they're not playing nice. They're calling the ban excessive, unjustified, and politically motivated, and they're not stopping at league appeals either. They're threatening to take this to court. Griner's lawyers are demanding full transparency. Every file, every recording, every internal memo from the investigation. Because according to them, this isn't just a punishment, it's a smokescreen. They're claiming the WNBA is using Griner as a distraction, a sacrificial headline to cover up deeper problems brewing behind the curtain. In their words, she's being punished for being powerful, for speaking up, for pushing back against league leadership, for being too influential in the locker room and too vocal outside of it. And whether that's true or just smart legal framing, one thing's clear: this story is far from over. If this goes to court, and it might, more secrets will spill. Testimonies, leaks, maybe even names the league really doesn't want in the headlines. So now we've got two battles, one inside the league and one in the legal system. And if Griner's team has their way, this won't just be about clearing her name. It'll be about tearing down the very league that banned her. But just when you thought this couldn't get messier, the next twist shattered the internet. Just when the WNBA thought the scandal had peaked, another bomb dropped. And this one, it hit way deeper. Whispers that had floated in the shadows for years suddenly exploded into headlines. Is Brittney Griner biologically male? Yeah, it's messy. Yeah, it's controversial. But it's everywhere now. Sources claim that internal league memos, medical records, and confidential documents might exist, documents suggesting that a WNBA may have known something and choose to keep it quiet. Why? Simple. Griner was the WNBA brand. She dunked. She dominated. She made the league look like it belonged on the world stage. If that image cracked, the whole foundation risked collapsing. For years, the league celebrated her talent, her edge, her uniqueness. But now that she's banned, all those quiet questions are bubbling to the surface. Fans are torn. Some are outraged. Others are demanding answers. But here's what makes this twist so dangerous. If the league did know and covered it up, that's not just bad PR. That's a potential violation of Title IX. That's federal, and if true, it's no longer just about fairness. It's about trust, legality, competitive integrity. Some insiders are already framing this entire ban as a strategic move to bury a bigger secret, a desperate attempt to shift the spotlight, to burn one player before the whole house catches fire. The league, for its part, is staying silent. No confirmations, no denials, just a growing storm of speculation. And whether it's true or not, the damage is already done. Sponsors are pulling back, players are panicking, and fans, they don't know what to believe anymore. This wasn't just a PR nightmare, it was a nuclear meltdown. And the ripple effect? It's hitting every corner of the sport. At this point, it's no longer just about Brittney Griner. It's about a league on the edge of collapse. What started as a ban has become a full-scale identity crisis for the WNBA. Sponsors? Spoked. TV networks? Quietly renegotiating. Fans? More divided than ever. Some are demanding transparency. Others are tuning out entirely. Because when your biggest star is banned for alleged corruption, and then rumors about secret gender identities explode across social media, you lose control of the narrative. And the fallout is real. Young stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese came into the league with fire, optimism, and a generation behind them. They were supposed to redefine women's basketball, bring in a new era. Now, they're stuck in the middle of a league that feels more like a reality show than a professional sport. Scandal, conspiracies, leaks, silence from leadership. The foundation they were supposed to build on, it's cracked and crumbling. And what about the players still inside the system? The ones who dared to speak up? Are they safe from retaliation? Or are they next in line to be silenced? Parents are watching this unfold and asking a hard question. Do I want my daughter playing in this league? Right now, that answer is unclear. This was supposed to be the WNBA's golden age, rising talent, global exposure, packed arenas. But instead, it's chaos. The trust is broken. The future is uncertain. And the truth? We might still only be seeing part of it. So what happens now? Does Griner come back swinging? Do more names get exposed? Or is this just the beginning of a scandal that could blow the doors off everything? So now we're left with a league in crisis, a fallen icon, and a million unanswered questions. Was Brittney Griner a manipulator who finally got caught? Or a powerful woman punished for challenging the system? Was this about protecting the game or protecting secrets? And if the rumors are true, if the league really did cover up gender documents, manipulate narratives, and let corruption fester, how deep does this thing really go? The truth is, we may never get a clean answer. But one thing's clear, this isn't over. Not for Griner, not for the WNBA, not for the players who spoke out, and definitely not for the fans watching this saga unfold. Because this isn't just a sports story anymore. This is a power struggle, a media war, and maybe a full-blown reckoning. So now we're turning it over to you. Was the ban justified? Was the league hiding something bigger? And who's really telling the truth in all of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading everything. And if you want the truth, not the PR spin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell, because we've got more stories coming that the mainstream won't touch. This is Ball Scoop Talks, and we're just getting started.